I was fortunate enough to receive an email from a friend of mine whose organization I volunteered doing creative writing, and she sent me an email. It was kind of a call for submissions for male survivors who wanted to tell their story. Some of the staff there where they were coaching and helping me tell my story about my incident when I was younger. I wished I had been able and equipped and perhaps, had some support in this earlier. Maybe perhaps, when I was in my, late 20s, early 30s. Here I am at 56 and I've made so many mistakes. I've filtered so many different emotions and burnt bridges. I know that if I had had someone to help me address these issues or been willing to not see them as, oh, men don't do this, we hold it in, then I think that I would have been a better father. I think that I would have been a better social worker. I would have been a better provider. And I'm all those things now, but they could have came at such an earlier time, and it wouldn't have been such a hit or miss, process for me. Being a man of color and that whole black pride thing and, that whole stigmatism with, mental illness and how we don't address it as an African-American race, that definitely has been a part of that whole stigma and fed into that by not admitting that I had a problem and that these problems were hindering me from growth and development professionally and personally and definitely spiritually. Like every other male, I pushed things down. I didn't confront my abusers who were relatives. I didn't feel compelled to relive that or tell that story until I received that email, and that's where I gained the courage to finally turn around like Forrest Gump did when he was running. He just stopped running and turned around and said, I'm going back to face and deal with whatever. So that was a turning point to me, and maybe it would have happened anyway, but that was an opportunity for me to tell my story. My first poem, it's titled Bastard. You said I was born a bastard. That's what you told me, mama. Dark moon of your nightmare, half and half, but not whole of a sum from a story retold over and over again from the center of my soul. I was just 3 minutes removed from being torn from the uterus of then back when the sun turned its back and shadows cried. And even though just a seed, I could still feel you bleed from daddy's dirty deed, but he was the bastard, mama, not me. I remember swimming inside you as you lay near death. And when you were well enough to feel my movement, your anger and resentment rumbled like thunder. And I wondered how much longer I had to be before you got rid of me. And even though an unwanted fetus, I knew who I was, mama, your son, the unchosen one. But in the ovum of that moment, I felt you concede my existence, no longer resisting the urge to murder the unborn metaphor and leave me lying in a pool of aborted promises. And that day was the day I learned to escape danger by dodging coat hangers, jabbing with the anger of the desperate stranger you'd become. That day I felt you scraping and screaming as you squatted to be free of me, and you almost did, mama, but I hung on, clinging to your womb like a dangling participle, clutching a poem yet written. I survived, mama. I survived to prove that statistics just don't fit, and I ain't nobody's misfit, and I can still hear you screaming, boy, you ain't gonna be shit. But I am. And I will no longer be a pun for food stamps or income tax, because I am more than that. I am more. I am more than just sperm jettisoned from the tomb of my father's already limp affections. I am more than that. I am more. And I wish you'd love me like I loved you. I wish you just loved me like I loved you. I loved you, mama. Still, you said I was born a bastard. So this poem is for all those times you beat me for looking like him. And this line is the tie that binds me to the umbilical of those moments where you made me feel like a weed without roots at the foot of an empty family tree. There was no one there, just me, but I am not like my father, mama. I am living proof that flowers can bloom from this seed. I am not like my father, mama, because 1% of you inside me is the reason why I believe, and we've come a long way from belt buckles and criticism, and I just want you to know All the love I ever knew grew to create me from you. And I'm going to take all this power and all this rage and leave my heart and soul on a men healing stage for you, because I am not a bastard, mama. I'm a poet. I'm a social worker. I made it. And one day my metaphors will open up heaven's doors and leave tear prints across the sky. And that day, that glorious, wonderful day, you and I will soar. Happy Mother's Day, mama. I hope that people watching this, I hope what they get from this is they see a man who is finally transparent, who is able to utilize all the resources that are readily available, and that you don't have to wait until you're older. You can now talk to someone and allow someone in, and it starts with that. And so that would be my advice. That would be what I would want someone to take away from this, is that you're not by yourself. Even if you don't believe that it's out there, there is help, there is support, and that you are so valuable and you are so worth, everything, and you deserve all the things that this world has to offer when you're finally free.